For all the homes that have been completely destroyed in the LA fires, there's one home in particular whose destruction bears an historical irony that would be downright farcical if it weren't so tragic. See, this home on Alma Real Drive in LA's Pacific Palisades neighborhood, which until the early 2000s was considered middle or even working class, is where songwriter Robbie Krieger lived with his parents in the mid-60s. And in that home, he would pen a song whose lyrics, some 60 years later, would prove to be strangely prophetic. I'm Dara Starr Tucker, and this is The Breakdown. In 1965, 17-year-old guitarist Robbie Krieger joined an LA-based band that was looking to make its mark on the burgeoning psychedelic rock scene. By 1966, the lead singer of that band had already written several songs of his own, and the band was playing local clubs, but they hadn't yet come to the attention of any major record labels. So when the lead singer asked Robbie to come up with a few songs for the band, Robbie wanted to know what sort of songs that he had in mind. The lead singer asked him to write something that felt universal, something that wouldn't go out of style for the next 5 or 10 years. So in Robbie's mind, that meant starting with the 4 classical elements: earth, air, water, and fire. Greek philosophers referred to these as the building blocks of the universe. And the one that particularly jumped out at Robbie at the time was fire, because he was a big fan of the Rolling Stones song called Play with Fire. Robbie was also inspired by the lyrics of the song Hey Joe, which Jimi Hendrix had a hit with in 1966, and he loved listening to jazz and blues guitarists like Wes Montgomery and Albert King. And he was particularly fond of saxophonist John Coltrane's version of My Favorite Things, which was released in 1961. So he set up a 2-chord vamp that used similar chord changes to Coltrane's interpretation of that song, and he wrote the intro and verses over that. Robbie initially conceived of the song with a folk feel, but drummer John Densmore thought it should have more of a Latin feel, so they went with that. Keyboardist Ray Manzarek came up with a Bach-like intro to play on the Vox Continental organ. And lead singer Jim Morrison contributed lyrics to the second verse and came up with the iconic line, the Southern California rock band, The Doors, started playing their new composition in clubs in 1966. The song helped bring them to the attention of singer Arthur Lee, whose group Love was signed to Elektra Records. It was Arthur Lee who brought producer Paul Rothchild and Elektra Records president Jack Holzman to see The Doors perform at Whiskey A Go Go on August 10, 1966. They were signed a week later. Their initial single, Break On Through, didn't exactly break through, so in early 1967, Elektra decided to follow it up with Light My Fire. It ended up being both the band and the label's first #1 single on Billboard's Hot 100 singles chart, and it sold over 1 million copies. Explicit drug references in the song's lyrics got them banned from The Ed Sullivan Show. But that appearance alone was enough to send the band into the stratosphere. In a bitter turn of irony, the song Light My Fire was written in large part in a home that was just destroyed in the horrific Pacific Palisades Fire. There are many, many musicians whose homes and livelihoods have been destroyed in the LA fires. If you'd like to contribute to a fund that's set up specifically to help these LA-based musicians, visit musiccares.org. And you can follow me for more music-based storytelling at Dara Tucker B on Instagram and Dara Star Tucker on YouTube.